He was a pathetic, worthless loser, who was backstabbed by his own party for being weak. But he awakened his cheat skill, and summoned the strongest maid with big powers.
What do you mean by that?
Who is ready to give him anything. And now he begins his revenge. This all begins with a loser named Light, who leaves his home after saying an emotional goodbye to his family. He promises them that he will become an adventurer, get some melons and earn enough money to give them a comfortable life. With that goal in his heart, he heads straight to the Adventurers Guild to register. At the guild, the receptionist checks his details and confirms that this is his very first time joining. Because of his ugly face, she assigns him the lowest possible rank, rank F. She then asks whether he has any special ability. Light tells her that he possesses a power called unlimited gacha, but she has never heard of such a thing. To explain, Light takes out a strange device that randomly selects a card. Whatever image appears on the card becomes a real object. At least, that's how it's supposed to work. Unfortunately, the first item that appears is a crooked fork. Feeling embarrassed, Light tries again, hoping for something useful. But he only gets more worthless junk. He quickly explains that his power is not always this bad, but the receptionist is convinced she made the correct choice by giving his god for nothing, skill F rank. Light then asks if he can start working immediately. The receptionist points to the request board, but she notices that Light is struggling to read it properly. She casually mentions that humans usually have low literacy in this world, so it's nothing unusual. Seeing his confusion, she explains a few beginner-level jobs that don't require much reading. Light spends the entire day completing those simple tasks. By the time he finishes, he feels exhausted but hopeful. However, when he checks his earnings, his mood drops. The money he made is only enough to pay for a single night at a cheap inn. With no extra coins for food, he starts hoping that his gacha ability might at least give him something edible. Before he can try, Light runs into a group of beast folk. They shove him to the ground without hesitation. It quickly becomes clear that humans are treated like trash in this world. Their leader complains that Light dirtied his clothes and then steals all of Light's money. Light desperately asks for it back, but they kick him aside and leave him lying there in pain. An hot elf woman named Sasha notices him and rushes over to help. Light panics again when he realizes he accidentally got her clothes dirty as well. Instead of getting angry, Sasha surprises him by pulling him into a gentle hug and telling him everything is okay. She introduces Light to her party, and he is shocked when he sees how powerful they all are. One of the members, Garo, explains that their group is known as the Concord of Tribes. Their dream is to create a party that includes all 9 races, and to build a world where no one is judged by their race. Since they still need a human member, they invite Light to join them. Grateful and excited, he accepts without hesitation. The party soon heads into the most dangerous dungeon known as the Abyss, famous for being long and deadly. When a monster suddenly charges at Light, Drago steps in and slices it cleanly in half. Sasha takes down another monster with her bow and warns Light that even a single hit could kill him. Feeling guilty for being weak, Light apologizes repeatedly. The rest of the group starts teasing Sasha for constantly watching over him, making her blush. She explains that if anything happened to Light, people would think the party couldn't even protect their own teammates. Drago reassures Light and tells him not to worry, saying that the tea Light makes is good enough to be considered useful. Hearing this makes Light genuinely happy. As they continue deeper into the dungeon, the party suddenly comes to a stop. Light assumes they are taking a short break and begins preparing tea again. That's when Drago coldly tells him that he is no longer part of the group. Completely confused, Light asks what he did wrong. They bluntly tell him that he is useless and begin insulting him. Light can't understand why they treated him kindly before, if this is how they truly felt. They then explain that their superiors once believed Light's ability might be special, and thought he could become a master. Light has no idea what that means, and can't understand why anyone would care about a skill he believes is worthless. They admit that they overestimated his potential, and because of that mistake, they were ordered to deal with him. Sasha becomes irritated by how worthless Light is but admits she's relieved he isn't special, since she couldn't stand the idea of marrying a human just to gain their bloodline. Drago says they've said too much, but Garo shrugs and says it doesn't matter because Light won't survive anyway. Without warning, Garo slashes Light's face. As Light tries to crawl away, they laugh while listening to his cries for help. Sasha shoots his leg to stop him from escaping, and Garo continues beating him until the others stop him. They remind him that Light's death must look like a monster attack, so they shouldn't leave wounds that don't match the story. Barely conscious, Light drags himself across the floor and accidentally activates a teleportation trap. Drago shouts for Garu to stop him, but before Garu can reach him, Light vanishes right in front of them. Light reappears in a different section of the dungeon. Although he's relieved to still be alive, he knows that meeting any monster now would mean certain death. He feels crushed by how unfair everything is. He never harmed anyone, yet the people he trusted betrayed him. Instead of breaking down, anger fills his heart, and he swears to destroy them all. At that moment, a terrifying level 1000 monster appears behind him. Light freezes, realizing he has been sent to the deepest part of the abyss, a place most only hear about in legends. As the monster prepares to attack, Light tells himself that he cannot die here, because dying would mean never getting revenge. With no weapons or strength left, Light activates unlimited gacha again. This time, a glowing magic circle appears beneath him. From it emerges a maid named May, who effortlessly tears the monster apart. She then heals Light's wounds completely. May apologizes for touching him without permission and says she couldn't stand seeing such a handsome face damaged. Light becomes even more confused when she repeatedly calls him Master. After learning his name, she declares that under a maid's code of honor, she will serve him with complete loyalty until her final breath. After receiving permission to explain herself properly, May reveals that she is a level 9999 maid, a super ultra rare card summoned by Light's gacha ability. Light finds this impossible to believe, since he has always thought his gift was useless like him. May then uses her appraisal skill to examine him. She explains that appraisal is just one of her natural abilities. After scanning Light, she is shocked to discover that most of his true power is hidden beneath powerful concealment, making it impossible for ordinary people to recognize his value. She explains that gacha results depend on mana density. While mana exists everywhere, the surface world has very low concentration. Deep inside the abyss, however, mana is overflowing, making it possible to summon rare beings like her. She praises Light for reaching such a dangerous place and unlocking his ability's true potential. Light stops her from praising him further and breaks down in tears. He tells her everything that happened and admits that all he ever wanted was to help his family and get some milk. May hugs him gently and tells him that with her strength, revenge would be easy. She asks him to give her an order, but Light refuses. He says that he trusted the wrong people and was betrayed, so he must become stronger and take revenge with his own hands. He wonders if his thinking sounds foolish, but May assures him she will support any path he chooses. Hearing that, Light finally feels a small sense of relief and for the first time, genuine hope. 3 years pass, and everything about Light's life looks completely different now. We see him walking through a grand castle like he owns the place, and honestly, he kind of does. He's surrounded by a whole army of hot maids, all of them summoned by him, and they follow him like a royal escort. Light praises them for how well they've been working, and the moment he compliments them, the maids basically short-circuit. They freak out, start squealing, and act like they just heard the best thing in their life. May, staying serious as always, asks Light if she should get permission to silence them. Light doesn't really care, though he knows they're not being disrespectful. They're just completely head over heels for him, so he lets it slide. After that, Light heads into the city. A citizen approaches and says the town is running low on food. Light stays calm and promises he'll speak to the administrator so the situation gets handled properly. While they're walking, Light asks May what the quartet is doing. May explains that everyone is busy with the missions Light assigned them. First, she mentions Yuki. May says Yuki is looking over the upper part of the abyss to create a map. Light knows the forests around the abyss are loaded with monsters, but he isn't worried. In his eyes, a talented tamer like Yuki is more than capable, and those monsters shouldn't be a serious danger to her. Then Light asks about Ellie. May says Ellie is working hard on building the magic needed for Light's grand plan. Light hopes Ellie won't get crushed by pressure, because there are already a lot of moving parts and too many things happening at once. Next, Light asks what Nazuna is doing. May says Nazuna is sticking to her usual role, patrolling the castle. On the way back, they notice a man named Jack waiting for them. May instantly gets irritated and tells Jack to address Light properly and show respect. Light isn't bothered at all. He treats Jack like an older brother, so he doesn't take it personally. They go to the training room. Before the spar starts, Light says he's going to attack Jack with everything he has. Then Light rushes in and slams a punch straight into Jack's stomach, forcing Jack backward. Light even points out that if someone else took that hit, they probably wouldn't have survived. While Light is training, Nazuna is moving around the castle doing her patrol. She runs into other maids who ask if she's currently on duty. Nazuna proudly says yes, and she adds that patrol isn't some random chore, it's an important job Light personally gave her. The other maids hype her up, and Nazuna gets super happy from all the praise. They ask where she'll patrol next, but Nazuna says she hasn't decided yet. That's when they ask her to check a certain location for them because they cannot enter it themselves. Nazuna ends up going to Light's bedroom. She knocks, and right away, she's shocked to see May coming out of the room. May questions why Nazuna is there. Nazuna quickly says she's only patrolling the area. May tells her the bedroom is already safe and orders her to go patrol somewhere else. Nazuna gets curious and asks what May was doing inside while Light was away training with Jack. May explains it's against a maid's code to be lazy just because her master isn't around, so she was cleaning the room. But as Nazuna steps inside, she notices something creepy. The bed looks like someone sniffed around on it recently. Mei calmly says that's simply her unique bed-making style. Nazuna wants details, but Mei refuses to explain and calls it a trade secret. Nazuna is honestly impressed, and Mei is quietly relieved because Nazuna isn't exactly the sharpest person, so she won't overthink it. Nazuna then hands Mei a message bundle from the other maids. Mei starts reading them, and realizes the notes are basically cursing her out for blocking them from the bedroom. Mei tells Nazuna not to worry, she'll handle it as the head maid and speak to the others herself. She even rewards Nazuna with a few coins for doing her delivery job properly. Nazuna lights up with happiness, and tells Mei to call her if she ever needs help. Nazuna uses the money to buy snacks. On her way back, she bumps into Yuki. Nazuna is confused, because Yuki should still be scouting the Abyss Forest. But Yuki doesn't answer normally. Instead, she keeps meowing like a cat. Nazuna gets stuck because she can't understand Yuki the way Light can. She starts guessing, maybe Yuki wants help cutting down trees. But Nazuna realizes that's dumb because if you cut everything down, there won't be anything left to scout. She asks if Yuki ran into a strong monster. She also says something important, even though Yuki was summoned earlier and is stronger, and even looks older. Yuki still shouldn't hesitate to rely on Nazuna when she needs support. Yuki finally speaks normally because Nazuna is completely lost. Yuki says she already finished the map, so she returned to deliver it. Nazuna pats her and calls her a weirdo, basically saying, you could have just said that at the start. Then Nazuna continues her patrol. Later on, Nazuna goes to Light's throne and hugs it because she's sad she hasn't seen him all day. But while clinging to it, she accidentally breaks a piece off. She quickly sticks it back on and runs away like nothing happened. Back in the training room, Light and Jack decide they're done for the day. They head to the bathhouse. Jack tells Light that only a few people down in the dungeon can match him now, which means there are even fewer people on the surface who can. But Jack also warns him, that doesn't mean nobody can beat him. Light agrees. He knows the world still has a lot of unknown threats, and he refuses to relax. In his mind, he can't drop his guard because he needs to finish his revenge all the way to the end. Meanwhile, Mei calls in the 4 maids who complained about her using the message that came through Nazuna. Mei asks if they even understand why they're being punished. They pretend they don't know what she means. Mei reminds them of the nasty messages they sent. They apologize immediately. Mei tells them to explain themselves, and they claim they were only trying to help because they know she's busy. Mei says the worst part isn't even their jealousy, it's that instead of speaking directly to her, they use Nazuna as a messenger to dump their feelings. Mei rejects every request they made, and as punishment, she orders them to clean the hallways, leading to the throne room using their ugly faces. They panic and say it's impossible. Mei says she'll be leaving for a mission on the surface soon, so they better finish their work without causing trouble. Later, Nazuna is in the city staring at a weapon, clearly wanting to buy it someday. Ellie notices her and jokes, asking if Nazuna is looking for candy. Nazuna asks why Ellie is even here, since Ellie is usually too busy to wander around. Ellie says things are going smoothly, so she had time to return. Then she casually calls Nazuna a dimwit, which makes Nazuna mad. Nazuna tries to prove she's not stupid by claiming she knows all the multiplication, but she can't even get a single right, so they start arguing. Ellie then flexes. She says Light made her in big part in his plan, while Nazuna was only assigned to patrol the castle. Ellie adds that she even had tea with Light to discuss progress, and next time she plans to reserve them a private room when they meet again. Nazuna gets jealous and says she also wants tea with Light. Ellie is confused that is the only part Nazuna cares about. Nazuna then offers support. She tells Ellie that because Ellie is strong in magic but weak in close combat, Ellie should ask Nazuna for help whenever she needs it. While scrubbing, the 4 punished maids complain to each other. They don't think it's wrong to criticize Mei's management, but they know they can't fight back. What they really want is a chance to clean Light's room, and they don't understand why Mei never allows it, even though Mei is always working. They remind each other that Mei was Light's first summon, and Yuki didn't get summoned until 3 months later. That means Mei had a full 3 months alone with Light. They start gooning, imagining how much plot she has developed, and they get lost in their minds. They even start thinking if their hatred gets strong enough, it could turn into a curse that might erase Mei. Then Mei suddenly walks in. She asks what they've been doing, and they have no real excuse, so they quickly claim they're loyal. Mei then drops the truth. During the first 3 months when it was only her and Light did nothing except study books and train martial arts. There was no time for the kinds of things these maids are imagining. Hearing that calms them down. Mei admits she came because she felt bad about being too harsh. But then she realizes they still haven't learned their lesson, so she adds extra punishment. Now they also have to clean every room. They start cleaning and realize the work is just never ending. They won't finish even if they scrub all night. and during this cleaning, one of them accidentally breaks off a piece of the throne, the same area Nazuna damaged earlier. That night, Nazuna gets ready for bed, still feeling sad that she didn't see Light. In her frustration, she wishes Light would just give her permission to go to the surface so she can beat up everyone herself. The next morning, Light walks into the hall and instantly notices Nazuna and Ellie bickering again. Nazuna looks annoyed at first, but the second she spots Light, her mood flips completely. She gets all excited and even wonders in her head if he came here just to see her. Light doesn't answer her. Instead, he casually reaches out and starts rubbing Yuki's head, the way someone would pet a kitten. That single move makes all the other girls feel jealous. Light laughs and admits he really can't stop himself. Yuki just feels like a cat to him. So he naturally treats her that way. Before things calm down, a terrifying figure steps into view, a level 1000 hellhound. Even though Light is far stronger now, the sight still makes his chest tighten a bit. That beast was the very first monster he ever faced in the abyss, so it brings back memories. The rest of the group reacts with rage. They start talking about wiping out every hellhound in existence. Their killing intent becomes so intense that even the monster freezes in fear. Light quickly raises his hand and tells everyone to relax. They ask why Light summoned them. He tells them he received a message from May and now the time has come. The long-awaited plan is finally being set in motion. Far above, on the surface, Garou is enjoying his rise to power. Beast folk surround him with praise. Then he notices a human nearby and, without hesitation, smashes him to the ground and even spits on his face, showing exactly what he thinks of humans. Garou then heads into a tavern with his crew and tells everyone to order whatever they want. His followers feel honored to sit with him because they know his story. Once an orphan, now the man expected to become their next ruler. He admits his climb was hard. Every beast folk is born with a skill, he explains, but true strength comes from finding clever ways to use that skill. His followers agree that Garou's talent is far beyond theirs. He shares his secret weapon, his nose. He smells out which jobs will be easy, and only accepts those quests. That's how he keeps winning without taking risks. Someone asks about the Concord of Tribes. Garou refuses to talk, but he remembers the mission clearly. It was laughably simple. All they had to do was erase a single weak human named Light. One thing still irritates him, though Light's body was never recovered. But Garou convinces himself that no human could survive that dungeon. He is curious about the mysterious word, Master, but decides it's safer not to dig deeper. Suddenly, May appears and interrupts Garou. She introduces herself as Light's maid. Garou is stunned. May says she's been searching for Light for a long time, and that immediately makes Garou uneasy. What if she knows what they really did? Then May drops another shock. Light is supposedly of noble blood. Garou laughs it off. May says she can't share the full story. Even though he thinks she's lying, Garou realizes that if there's even a small chance she's telling the truth, this could be worth a fortune. May explains that during her search she learned Light joined a party, but rumors say he later died inside the dungeon. Garou asks what she wants. She tells him she needs an escort to the place where Light supposedly died and reveals the payment she's prepared to give. The amount is massive, it leaves everyone speechless. Garou suspects a trap, but he doesn't care. He believes May is no threat to him. He agrees to help and proudly says that as the future head of the wolf tribe, he will personally send his strongest men. Then he adds a fake emotional line, saying he would have helped even without money because Light was like family to him. But in his thoughts, he plans something horrible. He will get May to the location, then clap her plots on top of Light's grave. At the dungeon, Garou tells May the official story. Monsters attacked, Light triggered a teleport trap, vanished, and was never seen again. He orders his men to block the exit, amused by how easily humans swallow lies. May suddenly says something that chills him. She says she feels sorry for Light, because if she had been with him earlier, he would not have suffered being kicked and shot with arrows. Garou freezes. Only Concord members and a few top executives know those details. He demands to know who she really is and wonders if she's a spy from another tribe. May snaps back that her loyalty belongs only to Light. She prepares to attack. Garou, for the first time, feels genuine fear from a human and realizes he might actually die. Before May can strike, Light suddenly appears and tells her to stop. Garou stares in disbelief. Light calmly says he came back for one reason: to get revenge for what happened 3 years ago. Garou bursts out laughing. In his mind, Light is still a weak, level 15, while he himself is around level 150. He tells Light that showing himself was a mistake, because once Light is dead again, nothing will block Garou's path to becoming king. Light is surprised, not scared, but confused. He expected Garou to ask how he survived, or why May is with him, but Garou doesn't care. He believes 2 humans are nothing against beast folk. 2 warriors charge Light. May instantly beheads them. Light thanks her and orders her to guard the exit. Panic spreads. Garo calms his men, saying humans only win through dirty tricks. Light responds coldly, maybe Garo is the one who is truly inferior. Garo flashes his level to prove the gap between them. But Light doesn't look impressed at all, which makes Garo furious. Garo says Light must be using a magic item to kill his men. The group attacks again. Light sends them flying like toys. Refusing to accept this, Garo summons a level 500 monster and tells Light to beg like he did years ago. Light doesn't dodge. He says he won't even move. The monster fires a massive energy blast. When the smoke clears, Light is untouched. Light then summons a terrifying level 9000 monster that freezes Garo's beast with a single breath and shatters it. Light reveals his true level, 9999. Garo screams that it must be fake. Light looks the same as before. Light explains he wears a bracelet of youth that prevents aging. He keeps it as a reminder of his suffering. Garo collapses and begs for mercy, claiming he only followed orders. Light demands information about Master, but Garo knows nothing. Light questions his men. They pretend to know, but May senses their lies and tears them apart. Light asks Garo what would happen if he declared war on the surface, warning him not to lie because May can detect truth. Garo is so terrified that he wets himself and admits Light can't win alone. Light agrees he already knows that. He teleports Garo to the castle. Garo finds himself in Light's throne room, and is left speechless when he sees the massive force gathered there. Light orders everyone to reveal their stats, and asks Garo again if he still thinks the surface can't be conquered. Garo can't answer. He realizes the truth. The Conquered didn't just betray Light, they created something capable of destroying the world. He asks if Light plans to become a god. Light replies that the world is hiding secrets from him. Depending on what he learns, he will either save it, or drown it in despair using his gift. And everything now depends on the answer he finds. Light finally returns to the place he once called home. The village is completely ruined. Houses are smashed, the streets are empty, and the silence feels heavier than any battlefield. Yet something strange keeps his heart from breaking. Nobody ever found the bodies of his brother or sister. As long as there is no proof, Light refuses to believe they are gone. His knight Gold asks if it's time to leave, saying he doesn't want to stay in a cursed place like this overnight. But the assassin Nemumu snaps at him, calling him cold for even suggesting that. The two start arguing about who really stands with Light, so he steps between them and calms the situation. Light explains that even though they now have power that could threaten the whole world, charging into war blindly would be foolish. First, they must learn how strong the other nations truly are. He also needs answers about the title, Master, because that mystery is somehow tied to the destruction of his village. Gold quietly warns him to suppress the violent pressure leaking from him while they're near normal people, since his aura alone could crush them. On the surface, Light hides behind a mask and introduces himself as Dark, so that no Concord members can recognize him. They head toward the city of Das, where Light plans to start over as a rookie adventurer. They fly most of the way, but choose to land far outside the city to avoid attention. Nemumu mutters that Gold still draws eyes, no matter how careful they try to be. Along the road, they see a carriage under attack by dwarves. Gold is recognized instantly, so the attackers are defeated in seconds. The carriage owner, Colonel, and his son invite them aboard. Curious, they ask if Light's group is famous. Light replies that they are beginners trying to climb the ranks. Colonel says Das is perfect for that because its dungeon is always busy, and he also reveals that he runs an inn. At the city gate, Nemumu once again reminds Gold to keep his presence quiet. Inside the guild, Nemumu completely loses her temper when Light is handed the worst rank possible, F rank. She demands they make him S rank immediately, but the receptionist explains she has no authority to change the system. Light bows politely and apologizes for the scene. Nemumu starts crying because she forced him to lower his head, but Light gently tells her it doesn't matter. They go to Colonel's inn. When Colonel offers any help they need, Light rents the entire top floor for a month. He seals it with silence, magic, and anti-spy barriers, so they can rest peacefully. Nemumu still worries and asks why Light doesn't simply command everything from the abyss. His anger briefly surges, making the room shake, until Gold praises him for choosing to settle revenge personally. Light realizes he scared them and apologizes, understanding Nemumu was only worried. She renews her loyalty vow and kisses his foot. Gold watches in confusion, wondering if her devotion is a little extreme. At the dungeon gate, Light notices there are no elves present. He explains that elves and dwarves are currently fighting over who controls this dungeon. 3 hooded adventurers suddenly push to the front. Light senses that their leader is dangerous. Some kids nearby hesitate to speak, but Light confronts them anyway. The leader prepares to strike, but his ally stops him, saying it's not worth causing chaos. They step back, warning that this isn't over. People praise Light's courage. The kids apologize for staying silent and ask if Gold's armor is real gold. Nemumu explains, it's only painted since real gold is too soft. The kids notice Light must be new here and explain that the dungeon floors are huge, so people often camp overnight. Once inside, Nemumu senses no enemies nearby. Light uses his cards to make the group fly deeper. Elsewhere, the elf Kaido slaughters orcs while raging about Light. He reveals he was the youngest person ever chosen for the White Knights, the elite force of the Elden Kingdom, and that he carries the blood of a master. His partner Yanaic tries to calm him and reminds him they must reach the 3rd floor. Kaido complains that others look down on him because his level is capped at 1,500, even though he believes his bloodline should make him stronger. Yanaic promises to help through research, but Kaido secretly plans to kill him after using him. After killing trolls on the 3rd floor, Light orders everyone to collect magic stones as proof. On their way out, they see the kids battling goblins. The kids win, but Light suddenly appears and blocks a snake from killing their mage. They thank him again. Nemumu senses danger. Wolves burst from the forest, but ignore the kids. Then the true threat appears, a massive scythe mantis. The kids' leader Elio orders a retreat, but Light calmly says his group will handle it. Gold blocks its strikes but can't damage it. Nemumu mocks him. Light fires a fire arrow, but the mantis reflects it. Elio panics and tells his sister Mia to prepare support magic. She's stunned because Light cast a combat spell without chanting. Gold tells everyone to watch. When the mantis attacks from behind, he smashes its blade with his shield, shattering it, and slices off one of its legs. He explains that battles are about timing and creativity. Light controls 30 fire arrows at once, destroys its other arm, and traps it with a firewall. Mia can't believe he used a tactical spell without chanting, something even elves struggle with. The mantis grows wings to flee, but Nemumu leaps after it and kills it. Unfortunately, she ruins the valuable parts. She apologizes, and Light forgives her. A boy finds a magic gem. Light explains it can help them rank up. Elio asks if they're famous adventurers, but Light admits they're only F-rank rookies, leaving everyone stunned. Mia creates a water orb so Light and Nemumu can wash up. Light thanks her for spending her mana. Elio invites Light to camp with them. Over dinner, Mia explains the 3 magic classes: combat for single targets, tactical for wide areas, and strategic magic capable of changing the world, but requiring many mages. She says humans usually lack magical talent, which is why Light's silent casting amazes her. Elio admits he doesn't understand magic, but he knows Light is kind. He explains Mia earned a referral to the Duchy's academy, but their parents died in an epidemic. With Gimra and Wordy, they formed a party just to survive. Elio's dream is to earn enough money to send Mia to the academy. Light believes in her talent. When Elio asks why Light became an adventurer, Light shares that his parents died in a house fire. Nemumu adds that his body is covered in burns and they're searching for a potion to heal him. Later in dungeon, Kaido finishes off a beast with a single swing, and his partner Yana claps for him like he just won a tournament. But Kaido doesn't even look proud. He says that his divine sword, Grandius, is not meant to be wasted on low-level creatures. Yanaic reminds him that they aren't here to show off, but to collect monster remains for his research. His real dream is to break the natural growth limits of every race. However, he adds something darker to make real progress. He needs human bodies for testing. Back at the guild, Light and his crew arrive with a bag full of shining gems. The front desk girl is thrilled when she sees them, and the other adventurers whisper in shock, realizing this is the team that killed the giant scythe mantis. Light asks to trade in the crystals, but the receptionist says it'll take some time and invites them to enjoy a free feast while they wait. Later, as they wander around town, 2 adventurers suddenly walk up and ask if they are the famous Black Molly. Light is totally lost, so they explain that the entire city has started calling them that. Nemumu stays alert, not trusting strangers easily, but the 2 guys introduce themselves as Suvelin and Gilbert. They say they're not here to cause problems. They've heard how Light's party cleared the 5th floor and defeated the mantis, and they tell him that people are cheering for him because he proves humans can stand on equal ground with other races. Their friends call them away, so they say goodbye, but Light overhears non-human adventurers muttering that his story sounds fake. Soon after, Light's team is flying again, planning to head to the icy 5th floor. On the way, they notice kids walking below and decide to check on them. A girl named Mia runs up to Light and hands him a small bottle, saying it's burn medicine and that she wanted to thank him for saving them earlier. Light smiles but feels awkward taking a gift without giving anything back, so he pulls out a glowing bracelet and offers it to her. She slips it on instantly and promises she'll never take it off. Nemumu later scolds him, saying that bracelet is an ultra-rare wish item and way too valuable for a bottle of cream. But Gold disagrees. He says that bracelet is perfect for someone like Mia because it grants tiny miracles, not wealth. He tells Nemumu that kindness isn't about price tags. The party finally reaches the snowy 5th floor, and Light asks his group to hunt Yetis before teleporting back. He then returns to his hidden throne chamber. The girls welcome him warmly, and May asks if things are going smoothly. Light says adventuring has been fun and that he's met many good people. He checks with Ellie about their revenge plan, and she proudly says they're nearly prepared. Light compliments her and assigns May to oversee the abyss, Yuki to scout the ancient woods, and tells clumsy Nazuna to simply keep everyone safe in case trouble shows up. Meanwhile, on the 3rd floor, Suvelin and Gilbert are chatting about the mysterious Black Moly. They're convinced Light must be some reborn hero since he can cast battle magic without even chanting. Suvelin suddenly says he needs to pee and asks Gilbert to watch their backs, but when he returns, he finds a nightmare Gilbert and the rest are lying dead. Kaido stands there calmly, saying he despises humans. Suvelin knows he can't win, so he throws a smoke bomb and flees. But Kaido chases him through the air and strikes him down. Yanak knocks him unconscious and complains that Kaido should have kept them alive for experiments. Kaido shrugs and says he'll try harder next time, while Yanak coldly remarks that even useless humans are good lab material. At the guild, Nemumu demands that Light be promoted immediately, but the receptionist explains that he already skipped straight to rank D, something unheard of, and they can't break the system further unless he does something truly legendary. That night, Light spots a job request about an unknown adventurer killer. Gold says finishing it could boost his rank, but nobody knows who the murderer is. Suddenly, the air twists, a portal opens, and Mia tumbles out, bleeding badly. Her bracelet shatters after glowing once. Light heals her instantly, and then uses hypnosis to see her memories. The kids had earlier met adventurers who warned them about a serial killer who uses multiple magic types at once. The group decided to leave, but they were exhausted and stopped to rest. That's when Kaido and Yanak appeared, pretending to help. Then, Kaido admitted the truth, he is the killer. The boys pushed Mia to run while they charged him. Kaido sliced them down mercilessly. Even as they collapsed, Wordy screamed for Mia to escape. Gimra got back up to help, but both were cut down. Yanak said they could have been used for experiments, but Kaido said weak people who fight back deserve death. He said Mia would be their test toy. Elio suddenly stood again, begging Mia to flee. Yanak ordered Kaido to capture him alive. Elio remembered Gold's words about creativity in battle and threw his sword, then slammed Kaido with his shield. Furious, Kaido tried to kill him, but Yanak stopped him. Mia ran into the forest, but Kaido blocked her path with flying blades. He bragged that Grandius is a phantasmal class weapon that can control countless swords. She fought back with ice magic, but he shattered it and slammed her down. He mocked her, calling himself a future legend until she called him a coward who preys on the weak. Those words shattered him. Memories of being mocked by elves flooded back. Enraged, he raised his sword to end her, but her wish bracelet activated. Light comes back to his senses with his chest tight and his hands shaking. Everything Mia went through is now burned into his mind like a nightmare he can't escape. The moment he opens his eyes, he already knows what he has to do. Whoever hurt those kids isn't walking away. A short distance away, Yanak is crouched next to Elio, pressing his glowing hands over the boy's wounds. He isn't helping him out of kindness. In his twisted mind, a breathing test subject is far more valuable than a corpse. While he works, Kaido suddenly mutters something that makes the air feel heavier. The girl? She slipped away. Yanak freezes mid-spell. He slowly looks up, his face stiff with disbelief. Kaido explains that Mia vanished in a flash, most likely using a rare teleport crystal. That's when reality crashes down on Yanak. Their secret is no longer safe. Once the Elden Quendom hears that Kaido stole their sacred blade, they won't hesitate to release the White Knight Order. Yanak reminds him of something terrifying. The White Knights aren't ordinary soldiers. Their commander is said to have reached a power level near 3,000, and even his lowest troops are monsters in their own right. Worse still, their weapons are designed to counter divine artifacts like Grandius. Kaido finally shows fear. But Yanak doesn't let him fall apart. He insists that once his research is complete, Kaido will shatter the invisible wall holding him back. He will rise beyond every known limit and crush the White Knights as if they were nothing. Before either of them can escape, a quiet voice breaks the silence. "You're not going anywhere." Light steps out from the shadows. Kaido whirls around, completely stunned. He never felt anyone approach. Light's eyes drift over the scene, landing on the fallen boys. His fists tighten when he realizes that Gimra and Wordy are no longer alive. Gold quickly points out that Elio still has a pulse, and Light instantly kneels, pouring his magic into the boy until his breathing stabilizes. Yanak tries to deny everything, but Light cuts him off. He calmly explains that Mia already showed him the truth. He hasn't called the guild. Not because he wants mercy, but because he wants justice delivered by his own hands. Kaido laughs, calling Light a foolish human, and charges. His blade crashes down and stops inches from Light's face. Light doesn't even flinch. Kaido attacks again and again, but none of his strikes break through Light's guard. The Anakiap watches in horror. This isn't how it's supposed to go. No human should stand against Kaido. Kaido finally explodes in rage. Grandius glows violently, releasing a swarm of elemental blades that tear through the air. Light sprints, leaps, and twists between them, avoiding every strike. Kaido tries to ambush him from behind, but Light blocks without even turning around. Kaido stares at him in disbelief. Only frontline fighters can react like this yet. Light suddenly raises his hand and forms dozens of shimmering ice swords without chanting a single word. Kaido's own blades are shattered mid-air. Yana can barely breathe. No one uses magic like this. Kaido attacks from every angle, but Light surrounds himself with a storm of frozen weapons, turning the battlefield into a blizzard of steel and ice. Kaido finally screams that Grandius is a holy weapon crafted for masters chosen by the heavens. Light pauses and asks calmly how he knows about masters. Kaido sneers and reveals his secret. He was born with master blood in his veins. That alone, he claims, makes him greater than any human. Light doesn't argue. Instead, he tells Nemumu and Gold to secure Yanak. Yanak panics and summons his creations, horrifying beings stitched together from monster flesh and human bodies. One of them still carries a familiar face. Light instantly recognizes Suvelin. Yanak boasts that merging races is the future and that Kaido is only the beginning. Light doesn't waste time talking. He orders the chimeras destroyed. They heal endlessly at first, until Nemumu and Gold finally unleash their true abilities, breaking the creatures beyond repair. Yanak collapses, shaking in terror, only for Nemumu to drop him unconscious with one brutal kick. Light turns back to Kaido. Ice blades hover around him like silent executioners. Kaido remembers being mocked, being called weak, and something inside him snaps. Grandius transforms, turning into a blazing whip of divine energy. Light dodges effortlessly and calls it flashy but useless. Kaido throws everything he has into one final assault. Every strike is blocked. Light kicks him into the dirt and says he won't die yet, not until Light gets answers. Kaido finally begs. Light tells him that heroes don't prey on children. He offers one last deal: leave a single scratch on him and walk away. Kaido turns and runs. Light's solar beam ends the chase. Later, Light prepares to bury Gimra and Wordy deep in the abyss, a place monsters fear to enter. Kaido and Yanak are dragged into his hidden sanctuary. The girls there stare in shock, as Light explains that these two are murderers who will remain alive only until every secret about the masters is forced out of them. Far away, in a quiet hotel room, Mia slowly wakes. Light sits beside her and gently tells her that Elio survived, but Gimra and Wordy didn't. He places small locks of their hair in her trembling hands. Mia finally breaks down, thanking him through tears for saving what little remained. When morning comes, Light walks back into the guild hall, like nothing huge just happened, but the receptionist is already smiling at him. She announces that he's been moved up to C rank. Light points out that the real criminal, the so-called adventurer Butcher, is still free, but she tells him it doesn't matter. Thanks to the details he shared about Kaido and Yanak plus the 2 lives he saved, the guild counts it as a massive achievement. That evening, Elio sits down with Light and quietly says he and Mia are heading out the next day. When Light asks what they'll do next, Elio explains that adventuring is over for them. They're going back to their hometown. Light suggests they could rebuild their group with new members, but Elio shakes his head. He can't imagine a party without Gimra and Wordy. He wants to bring them home, even if only in memory. Mia adds that she won't join the academy anymore. Instead, she plans to study magic on her own. She swears she'll work harder than ever and become a real mage. As they leave, Light watches them go with a soft smile, already picturing the day he can take them to the resting place of their fallen friends and finally tell them the whole truth. Afterward, he tells Nemumu and Gold to guard things on the surface while he heads back into the abyss. Deep underground, Mei greets him with fresh intel. Ellie admits she used forbidden mind reading on their prisoners and uncovered something huge. Kaido's bloodline let him level up far faster than normal. Mei also mentions an ugly rumor: if a master is left unchecked, the world itself could collapse. Light isn't sure what to believe, but Ellie reveals she overheard Kaido talking with the White Knight commander about it. That name alone makes Light uneasy. He checks on Kaido and Yanak and decides they've outlived their usefulness. With a single card, he summons monsters that tear into them, erasing the threat forever. Next, Ellie updates him on their revenge mission. Everything is ready to move against Sasha. Their first step will be targeting the White Knights. She adds that the vice captain is secretly engaged to Sasha, making him a perfect hostage. Light gives the signal it's time. Elsewhere, Sasha lounges beside her fiancé Michael, who casually brags about slaughtering entire human villages and enjoying their screams. Sasha laughs and admits she felt the same thrill when she shot Light. They believe they're made for each other. Later, Sasha rides in a carriage, daydreaming about her future. Her maid beams, excited for the wedding. Suddenly, the cart stops. A human slave drops a package, and his owner beats him in public. Sasha sneers, thinking humans are useless. Then she spots a man slipping into an alley, someone who looks exactly like Light. Her heart skips. She rushes after him, but the alley is empty. She tries to convince herself it was her imagination, until she notices a note carved into the wall. "Meet me at the tower." Her blood turns cold. She only became a noble because everyone believed Light was dead. If he's alive, her perfect life is about to crumble. High above, Ellie watches her panic and promises to deliver punishment personally. Meanwhile, in a lavish garden, the White Knights pass time in the most twisted way possible. Two members, Nia and Kia, are tossing knives at a terrified slave like it's a sport. Nearby, Sharfet lounges with a human girl named Sasha. She pretends to smile, but the screams around her make her tremble. Sharfet tells Captain Hardy about Kaito's downfall and complains that cleaning up his mess will be annoying. Must says they should take responsibility since Kaito once served their order, but Sharfet brushes him off, more interested in flirting. When the slave collapses, Hardy orders Sharfet to end it. One-shot silence. He then scolds Sharfet for getting too close to humans, warning him about tainted bloodlines. Sharfet laughs, saying he only enjoys breaking their hearts and plans to discard Sasha soon. That night, Sasha jolts awake as a deafening sound shakes the land. A massive tower has appeared in the forest. Remembering the note, she knows exactly who's waiting for her there. Across the region, chaos spreads. A wagon full of slaves halts when a monster blocks the road. The driver bolts in fear. In a tavern, a bartender tells customers he can't restock because beasts have overrun the forest near the tower. Word spreads that the queendom is desperate for information and is offering huge rewards, but no one is brave enough to investigate. Light's group joins a crowd of adventurers drawn by the rumors. Two smug elves approach Nemumu, acting like she should feel honored to be invited into their company. She shuts them down instantly, saying she only follows Light. One elf swings at Light, but he stops him with a crackling bolt of lightning. No spell words, no delay. The onlookers stare in shock. As Light walks away with Nemumu and Gold, he murmurs that everything is unfolding perfectly. Out in the woods, a band of elves abandons a human girl to distract monsters. A beast devours them instead, but strangely spares the girl. Soon, a rough group of fighters finds her, heals her, and escorts her to safety. Their leader reports back to Yuki, who smiles in relief. The rescue network is working. Ellie admits she's controlling monster movement, but worries Light might be testing them. Yuki says orders are orders, but Ellie challenges her, asking if she's truly okay living as his obedient tool. Before the argument explodes, news comes in. The rescued children have reached the shelter. The girl thanks them with tears in her eyes, finally safe. Late that night, Sasha sits alone in her room, staring at the ceiling while her thoughts spin out of control. Part of her wants to march straight to the strange tower and erase Light with her own hands. But the fear inside her is louder than her anger. The forest around the tower is crawling with monsters that are stronger than level 1000, and she knows deep down that stepping in there alone would be suicide. Calling the White Knights is not an option either. If they find out that Light survived, her entire public image will collapse. She only earned her noble title because everyone believes she killed him. If the truth comes out, her reputation is finished. With no allies and no safe path forward, she reaches the only conclusion left: she has to go there by herself. The next morning, leaders of the Elven nation gather in a grand chamber for an emergency council. The Chancellor slams his hand on the table and insists that the White Knights must be dispatched immediately to deal with the mysterious tower. Turning toward Captain Hardy, he demands his opinion. Hardy refuses to support the plan. He explains that they don't even understand what the tower is or how it appeared. Charging in blind with their strongest warriors could get them all killed. The Chancellor grows impatient. He wants the elite unit mobilized now. Before the argument can escalate, the Queen steps in. She sides with Hardy and orders the officials to increase the reward offered for tower information, hoping adventurers will continue scouting instead. After the meeting ends, Hardy quietly thanks the Queen. It is revealed that she is not just the ruler of the nation, she is also his mother. She tells him she would never allow him to be thrown into danger. Hardy admits that he believes the Chancellor is playing a dangerous political game, waiting for the right moment to remove the monarchy. The Queen is calm. She believes as long as they stand together, the Chancellor cannot touch them. What truly worries her is the tower. She believes it could awaken an ancient chain of disasters, possibly even the rebirth of the Archfiend. She explains that when the Archfiend is defeated by the 8-Nation Alliance, a human hero is destined to be born, and that hero could threaten Elven dominance. She suggests wiping out humans before that happens. Hardy strongly disagrees. He says doing that would unite the world against them. Instead, he suggests finding the hero and either killing him quietly or turning him into their weapon. When Hardy asks about the rumored master who recently appeared, the queen dismisses it, saying the candidate turned out to be worthless and was already removed. Later that day, the guild is packed with adventurers lining up for the tower investigation quest. As Light walks through the crowd with his group, he notices the same hostile elves from before, watching him with murder in their eyes. Suddenly, Sasha hears his voice. It sends a shiver through her spine. She turns toward him, staring, and demands that he take off his mask. Light calmly explains that the mask hides burn scars. Sasha doesn't believe him and reaches out, ripping it away herself. Nemumu moves to attack, but Light signals her to stop. He lets Sasha see the illusionary scars across his face. Her reaction is pure disgust. She tells him to cover himself, adding cruelly that he's better off dead. Light replaces the mask and quietly thanks Nemumu and Gold for holding back. Soon after, Light's group dashes into the forest, chased by the same elves. He warns them to back off, but they are blinded by hatred. Light speeds up, trying to shake them, but they somehow keep up. He arrives at the meeting spot only to find it empty. Before he can question it, the elves catch up and tell him to start begging. That's when a girl named Mara appears behind them. She calmly announces that anyone who disrespects her master will suffer, then devours them using her monstrous limbs. She grimaces, saying they taste awful, but she'll eat as many as needed for Light. Gold and Nemumu stare at her in shock. Mara quickly softens, promising she would never hurt friends. Ice Heat arrives with her squad, apologizing for being late and saying they are ready to serve. Light orders them to guide him to the tower. Ice Heat tells Suzu to lead the way. The girl says nothing, and her living musket apologizes on her behalf. Light assures them he understands Suzu is just shy. As they travel, Jack tells Gold he joined out of loyalty to Lightmeister. The girls glare at him, but Light calms everyone down with humor, slowly easing the tension. At the tower, Ellie welcomes Light inside and reveals she has filled it with enchantments and advanced devices. A dragon rests inside her personal summon meant to guard their trap. Light takes his seat as Ellie explains the revenge plan. They will welcome Sasha with false celebration, then capture the White Knights, cripple the Elden Quendom, and extract every secret about the Masters. She creates a shadow copy of Light so he can safely observe while the real battle unfolds. In the forest, Sasha finally sees the dragon guarding the tower. Realizing she cannot face it alone, she turns back to gather the White Knights. That evening, she reports everything to the court. The Chancellor confirms similar reports and orders Hardy to lead the knights. Sasha begs to come with them. He agrees, but only if she borrows a powerful artifact from her father's vault before departing. At dawn, Hardy gathers the White Knights and gives a short but serious order. No unnecessary fighting. No delays. Their only goal is to reach the tower as fast as possible. Sharfet rolls his eyes and mutters that dragging Sasha along is going to slow everyone down. Sasha immediately fires back, saying she already marked a safe path through the forest and can guide them straight to the tower. Michael supports her, reminding everyone that she is already level 500 and far from helpless. Still, he promises to guard her personally if things turn ugly. They begin moving, following Sasha's hidden trail through the woods. Far above, Ellie watches the group advance and smiles, whispering that the bait has taken perfectly. Somewhere else, Light feels his hands trembling not from fear, but from excitement. He imagines Sasha's expression when she realizes how badly she has been trapped. Using the scratches she secretly carved into tree trunks the night before, Sasha leads them deeper into the forest. At last, the tower rises before them and creatures begin crawling out of it. There are 5 in total, but Hardy orders everyone to stay calm. Their real target is the dragon, not these roaming beasts. The hired adventurers activate their distraction strategy, pulling the monsters away. Hardy then signals the knights to rush the tower. He muffles every sound around them with a silence skill so their footsteps vanish, and they sprint toward the entrance. Ellie leans closer to Light's ear and jokes that the appetizer is almost ready. Sharfet peers inside and sees nothing dangerous, so the knights pour into the building and instantly vanish as a teleport trap splits them apart. Light waits patiently as Michael and Sasha begin climbing the stairway toward the upper level. They're unsure whether they are even inside the tower anymore, but Michael believes the highest floor will reveal the exit. They keep climbing, unaware of what's waiting above. Elsewhere, Naya and Kaya try to regroup only to be confronted by Ice Heat and Mara. Mara laughs, saying the elves don't look strong enough to matter. Ice Heat warns her not to underestimate enemies just because they are arrogant. The 2 elves are insulted and start shouting about their master blood, unleashing slicing waves of wind. Ice Heat and Mara dodge easily. The elves boast that they can keep this up forever and launch a massive barrage. Ice Heat slips past every attack, but Mara isn't as lucky. Kia severs her arm mid-leap. Nia and Kia smirk, thinking the fight is over. Mara casually asks Ice Heat what she thinks of them. Ice Heat shrugs and calls them weak. Mara then bites off her own remaining arm and both limbs instantly grow back. The elves freeze in terror. She laughs and rips her head off her shoulders, explaining that her body is a mix of multiple species. She is over level 7000. Ice Heat adds that she herself is a frozen flame storm beast, also above level 7000. The elves attack again, but their blades of wind don't even scratch them. Realizing their mistake, Nia and Kia try to flee. Ice Heat wants to finish them, so Mara shields her and encourages her to attack. Ice Heat coats her fist in roaring fire. The elves create a massive ice wall, but it melts instantly under the heat, and Ice Heat blasts them straight through it. They survive only because Ellie intervenes with magic. Ice Heat is annoyed that they didn't die, but Mara says it's fine now they know how pathetic elite elves really are. The terrified knights beg for mercy. Mara coldly says mercy was never shown to humans, so it won't be shown to them either. She begins breaking them mentally, pulling secrets from them while reminding them that Light ordered this punishment. Nearby, one of the fake monsters frightens an adventurer, but Light steps in to protect him while Namumu prepares to strike. Gold stops her, reminding her they are only acting for the show. They chase the monster away as the real Light observes from afar, pleased with how naturally everyone is playing their roles. Sharfat later encounters Suzu and immediately tries flirting. Her weapon Locke snaps at him, warning that he's outmatched. He smirks and offers romance instead of violence, but Locke replies that he isn't her type. When he asks who she likes, Locke blurts out. Light then tells her the dream is hopeless. Enraged, Suzu slams Locke into a wall. Sharfat draws an invisible crossbow and fires. She deflects it and shoots back. He destroys her bullet mid-air, impressed by her speed. The duel intensifies, arrows chasing her, bullets hunting him. Eventually, her shots begin weakening him with hidden effects. He collapses in pain. Suzu steps on his head and tells him to die, but Locke stops her, reminding her that killing wasn't allowed, only testing his strength. Suzu freezes, realizing she lost control. She starts crying. Light, watching from afar, nods. The battle is done. He asks Ellie about Sasha. Far above, Sasha climbs the final staircase with Mikkel. He senses danger waiting for them, but all she can think about is finally killing Light. Deep inside the twisted halls of the tower, Mus stormed around with rage burning in his eyes. He suddenly crossed paths with Jack, who looked completely relaxed, like he was out for a stroll instead of being inside a deadly battlefield. Jack casually mentioned that his strength was far beyond what Mus could imagine, somewhere past level 7000. Mus burst out laughing, convinced it was a ridiculous lie. Jack shrugged and suggested checking his status if Mus wanted proof. That was when Jack noticed something awkward. Mus didn't even have the ability to scan levels. Embarrassed but furious, Mus decided he didn't need proof. He lifted his massive axe and charged straight at Jack with raw aggression. His blade came crashing down, but Jack pushed it aside with ease and calmly told him that his attacks were way too slow. Mus refused to believe it. He swung again, pouring every ounce of his power into the strike, but Jack casually brushed it away with a simple flick of his finger. The force launched Mus across the hall like a broken toy. Gasping on the floor, Mus couldn't accept what had happened. He yelled that he couldn't die here. The people of the Elden Kingdom needed him. He believed himself to be some kind of protector. Jack's expression darkened. He reminded Mus that he had slaughtered innocent humans and then claimed he was freeing them from misery. Mus shouted back that human lives were worthless and that he was doing them a favor. In desperation, Mus forced his own life energy into his axe, begging it to grant him the strength to win. Jack stood still, interested to see what this final effort would look like. Mus screamed and charged, swinging with everything he had left. Jack didn't move an inch. His body hardened, turning solid like steel. The blow bounced off him harmlessly. Mus began flailing wildly, panic taking over, until Jack shattered the axe in one clean strike and punched him straight into the ground. Jack expected him to be dead, but Mus was still breathing. The only reason was Ellie's magic, which stopped anyone from dying inside the tower. Not far away, Nazuna faced Captain Hardy, the leader of the White Knights. Despite her clumsy appearance, she had always been strong, and she wanted to see how she measured up against the greatest warrior in the Order. Hardy sensed that she wasn't normal. Still, he was confident in his title and prepared himself for battle. Nazuna swung her blade. It passed right through Hardy's body. The shockwave tore into the wall behind him, blowing a massive hole through it. Nazuna froze, staring at the destruction she caused. She hurriedly asked if he was okay, only to realize he was already unconscious on the ground. Ellie immediately yelled at her, explaining that the tower was linked directly to her own mana reserves. Every crack drained her strength. She used a huge portion of her power to repair the wall and scolded Nazuna to be careful. Then something horrifying happened. Hardy stood back up. Nazuna stared in disbelief. Ellie explained that the tower's magic prevents the knights from dying. Hardy admitted he hadn't taken her seriously before, but now he would fight with everything he had. He activated a strange ability that silenced the area and began draining Nazuna's strength while increasing his own. From the emptiness of that field, he formed an invisible blade. He waited for her to move. Nazuna didn't hesitate. She rushed forward and punched him with all her might, slamming him into the wall again. This time, she smiled, relieved that she hadn't destroyed it completely, though Ellie still had to repair the damage. Light stepped in and told Ellie to stop yelling at Nazuna. The fight was over, and Hardy had been captured. Light sensed that Sasha was close. He pulled his mask over his face just as Michael opened the doors to the throne chamber. They walked inside, and Sasha froze. Light greeted her by name. She couldn't understand how he knew her. When he removed the mask, her blood ran cold. The boy she had once left for dead was standing right in front of her, unchanged, unbroken. She demanded to know how he survived. Light admitted the scars she had seen earlier were illusions. He told her he had stopped his own aging, so the pain would never fade from his memory. Mikkel finally realized the truth. Light was the master candidate Sasha was supposed to erase. Light told them how he had been thrown into the abyss, forced to fight for survival, driven only by hatred and the need for revenge. He told Sasha that she was next. Mikkel laughed. He said Light was cornered and that killing him would let them steal the tower's power and rise through the royal ranks. He promised Sasha they could lie afterward and say they only dealt with some nobody. Sasha believed him. She activated a mysterious artifact, the Angel Ocarina, summoning 3 radiant warriors. A fighter rushed at Light. He dodged, but a tank blocked him with a glowing shield. He shattered it, only for the healer to restore it instantly. They were working together perfectly. Sasha stared in disbelief. She had thought Light was still a weak boy. Light smiled. He released the first limiter on his weapon. The God Spear gun awakened. Light advances without hesitation, his boots echoing across the shattered floor. He doesn't run, he doesn't rush, he simply moves closer like nothing in the room can stop him. That alone terrifies Sasha. She shouts in panic, ordering every summoned angel to attack at once. The assault-type angel charges first, its glowing blade swinging down, but the instant it touches Light's spear, the weapon bursts apart like thin glass. The shield-focused angel dives in to block him, yet Light wipes out both spirits with a single overwhelming strike. Michael yells that the battle must end immediately because the spear is far too dangerous. At the same time, Light feels his palm burning as if he is holding molten metal. The weapon is overheating. Yuki and Ellie sense the danger and cry out in worry, but Light ignores them. He accepts the pain, driven by the single desire to crush Sasha. Desperate, Sasha lifts her ocarina and plays again, calling something far beyond the previous spirits. A massive archangel appears, shining with sacred energy. She screams for it to unleash its finishing move. A giant holy spear forms in the air and rockets toward Light. She is certain this is the end. Light swings once. The glowing spear disintegrates into particles of light. Her mind freezes. He calmly tells her that attack was nowhere near enough. Sasha, shaking, forces the archangel to attack at full output. 3 sacred javelins form at once and rush him from different angles, but Light destroys them all in the blink of an eye. The archangel continues throwing spell after spell, yet none of its magic leaves a single mark. Light keeps walking forward. Sasha completely breaks down and screams for him to stay back. He answers coldly that if she truly wants to survive, she should stop screaming and start fighting before he tears her apart. Michael pours all of his strength into the archangel in a final gamble. The creature glows brighter than ever, and Light erases it with one strike. Sasha tries to summon it again. Nothing answers. Her ocarina cracks apart in her trembling hands. Light explains that his spear didn't defeat the archangel, it erased it completely. Michael is horrified. A phantasmal class artifact vanishing is impossible. Light then explains that his spear belongs to the Genesis tier, a level far beyond anything she possessed. Michael laughs nervously, refusing to accept Light's claims. Still believing in his shield, he declares that Light cannot defeat him. Light charges straight at him and shatters the shield into fragments. Michael stumbles back, shaking, asking how a human could reach this level and whether Light truly isn't a master. Realizing how dangerous he is, Michael decides to retreat and warn the queen. He pulls out a teleport feather. Nothing happens. Light tells him, escape magic doesn't work here because the tower space is sealed. Michael insists that blocking teleportation is impossible. Ellie calmly explains that the spell is her original creation, developed after studying the Abyss core. Light watches silently as Michael clings to the hope that their commander over level 3000 will arrive and save them all. Light calls for his allies. The doors open. Every knight has already fallen. Michael's face turns pale. He suddenly suggests working together to rule the Elven Kingdom. Light cuts him off and says his only goals are revenge and the truth. Michael insists he never personally tried to kill Light. Sasha stares in disbelief as he turns on her, calling her useless and admitting he never wanted to marry her. She collapses emotionally. Michael then offers to kill her just to please Light. Light says he has no interest in killing Michael himself and calls Ellie forward. She promises him a painful end. Michael begs, praising Light, but Ellie traps him with living vines and invades his mind. Light turns to Sasha and tells her she's next. She brings up memories of comforting him when he cried, but Light only remembers the moment she tried to murder him. She offers herself to him, begging for mercy. Yuki explodes in rage and threatens to heal her endlessly just to feed her to monsters again and again. Light calms Yuki and explains that Sasha will live for now. First, the truth will be torn from her. He drops the same arrow she once used to shoot him and orders Mera to take her away. Light finally collapses. The spear drains him completely, but he seals it before losing consciousness. Back in the abyss, Nazuna worries about his survival. Ellie admits they don't know. She explains that in 3 years of using his gacha skill, the spear was the only X-rank card he ever drew, so dangerous that all 4 of them were required to seal it. They can only wait. When Light awakens, Mei rushes to him, relieved. He apologizes for frightening everyone. She tells him to rest and reminds him that from the beginning, she knew revenge ruled his heart, but now he is no longer alone. Meanwhile, the elves learn that contact with the White Knights has vanished. The queen refuses to believe Hardy could fall until a soldier reports that dragons are attacking. Ellie leads them. Dragons encircle the castle as Ellie declares herself the Witch of the Tower, and demands the leader who invaded her home. She destroys part of the city and gives them 3 minutes. The queen confronts her. Ellie reads her mind. Guards rush forward but are impaled by a massive tree that feeds on enemies. The queen tries to flee. Ellie restrains her, learns they were only investigating, and also sees their hatred toward humans. Ellie orders the release of all human slaves and grants them independence, threatening annihilation for resistance. The queen accepts. Later, Mei tells Light that humans from every nation are gathering near the tower. Light decides to return. A village has formed where people and monsters live side by side. Watching children play, Light remembers that he once wanted to destroy the world. Now he wants to protect it. And the others promise to help make that future real. And that's where this video ends. Watch this following video.